Let's do this Tulsi Gabbard thing for a sec. I miss mocking her. I mean, we don't hear enough from her.
Military intelligence personnel, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, you can really know everything you need to know about Tulsi Gabbard when you look into her background and the cult that she came from, and the cult members that seem to still kind of populate her inner circle, including when she was in Congress, staffing as on either her campaign or in her actual congressional office. I can't remember.
And also, this independent-minded voice now had to switch her party registration. Notably speaking at a lot of events like this one at the Palmetto Family Council Summit in South Carolina this weekend. We got a few other speakers there. Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. A lot of right leans for Tulsi in terms of what the company she keeps now.
Yeah, but she's independent.
For an independent. And
what's interesting too is that this is actually nothing new. I mean, she'd been speaking at right-wing events for a long period of time, including, events raising money and awareness for the fascist BJP party, where she has tried to make inroads on behalf of her cult. Well, here she is speaking at this event in South Carolina, returning to her roots, which are, yes, anti-Muslim, but also predominantly anti-gay, anti-LGBTQ, and just parroting the points that she has heard on the Daily Wire in her rolling audition to either be a Fox News personality or a vice presidential candidate.
Yeah, look it up. Her first appearance in public was on a campaign ad for her dad, an anti-gay politician in Hawaii, saying, "I wouldn't marry my daughter," is very strange.
Well, the fact that he needs to say it means that there's nothing weird there at all.
Yeah, nothing strange about this cult environment.
We just celebrated International Women's Day last week. I was scrolling through social media, seeing, what are people saying about it. And you saw a lot of nice flowery words coming from a lot of people in Washington, celebrating women and all the women have accomplished over the years, and all these great, inspiring examples of women leaders throughout our time. We know the hypocrisy there. You ask them what is a woman, and they can't answer the question. And one of the people they chose to honor in the White House on International Women's Day was not a woman at all. It was a biological male.
Nice.
There are two major points here. Number one is there is no greater expression of hatred and hostility towards women than to try to erase our existence as a category of people and to minimize us to being a construct of anyone's imagination. And the second thing that doesn't get talked about often enough as we are
let's see what the first thing. It's interesting these, I think, anti-imperialist hucksters get the opportunity to do what I would say like an occasion to maybe remind folks of the socialist lineage of the International Women's Day, started by New York socialists in 1909, followed up on by German socialists in 1910, or they could go and take a swipe at trans people. You saw this in the so-called anti-war debate, which is actually like in many cases a pro-Russian invasion thing, where Anya Parampil, Max Blumenthal, Jimmy Dore couldn't help but take swipes at trans people. It's a sickness.
And I just want to note, too, that we've been saying, I think I've been saying this, too, like in the year lead up to this extreme anti-trans ramp up, also led by Fox News. Rupert Murdoch and his British media outfits and Australian media outfits have been doing this for a while, creating the environment that created TERFism, where feminism has been laundered to and distorted to discriminate against trans people. And now we're seeing that come ashore in the United States. She does not speak for women. She does not speak for feminists. And it is interesting to me that the right fights against feminazis and feminism up until, okay, this might not be tenable for us right now. Let's distort it and use it for another bigoted end, since we got to bring women back into the fold. We lost a lot of them, especially in suburbia, because Trump was so uncouth. Maybe we can get enough of them that hate trans people or who are terrified enough that their kids might transition in their middle school. So it's incredibly cynical, her use of feminism, but we continue.
And the second thing that doesn't get talked about often enough as we are looking at this insanity is that by rejecting the objective truth that there is such a thing as a woman, they are rejecting the existence of objective truth as a whole. And when we remove those boundaries of what is actually true and false, not my truth or your truth or their truth or whatever it is, that there is such a thing as objective truth, then we remove all the boundaries of our society, and we end up in a position, what we're seeing right now, where what is declared as true is based on whatever those in power say that it is.
Okay.
And we've seen again how this.
So was she going against truth when this was just 4 years ago, January 17, 2019? Less than a week into her campaign for president, Hawaii Rep. Tulsi Gabbard issued a lengthy apology for her past comments and actions against the LGBTQ community. Since Gabbard, a 37-year-old Iraq War veteran, announced on CNN last Friday that she was joining what's expected to be a crowded Democratic field for President 2020, her past comments and actions have been under a microscope, including her work for an anti-gay organization and remarks calling LGBTQ activists homosexual extremists. And she said this: "In my past, I said and believed things that were wrong and worse. They were very hurtful to the people in the LGBTQ community and to their loved ones." So she's apologizing there, but now she thinks that it's an attack on objective truth.
How long until someone asks her about it and she says that's what she had to do to just gain more knowledge as a double agent in the Democratic Party? We're a step or two away from that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they'll love her for it, because the right loves nothing more than a grifter who pretended to be on the left and then leaves the left because they've just gone too far.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice that our anti-war folks are so, enthusiastic about somebody who's literally military intelligence. Like, Tulsi Gabbard should not be allowed to be a politician and be in military intelligence. Like that should not, like, DeSantis also shouldn't have, like, Stefanik, the other, who's a Democrat,
yes.
CIA or military intelligence people.
It's Slotkin.
Oh, Slotkin. Yeah. Oh yeah, I confused that too.
Slotkin, like these
Spanberger too.
Like,
yeah.
This is these people are anti-democratic, and Tulsi can pretend like she's like not that, but that's exactly what she is. Like, don't ask Tulsi what she's doing on the Horn of Africa.
I mean, they're just like mini Michael Flynn's. Not to be
right.
He might be insane, but they all
so
come
Tulsi.
from. They all come from. So is she, but they all come from the same, rotten tree.
And this is also just what's so insidious about TERFs, whether they're cis hetero TERFs like Tulsi or like someone like, or also like J.K. Rowling, like you said, in terms of like the history in Australia and the UK surrounding, TERFs, Graham Linehan, other people who have been radicalized like this, but also people like Dan Savage, the leader of the It Gets Better campaign, who a lot of these people basically it just seems like they want rights for women, rights for gay people, cis gay people, and then basically now that there's an even more marginalized group than them, like trans people, trans women of color, trans sex workers, to lift up the ladder behind them and close the door and start gatekeeping, just like white people gate kept black people and other minorities out of any of their rights, any of their purchase, any of their suffrage. And so it's just repeating a cycle of supremacy over another group, cycle of oppression over another group. And if feminism is actually about what it should be about, which is liberating women, but also liberating everybody under our capitalist structures, then trans people are firmly within that umbrella. But people like that who don't believe that go up at the Palmetto Family Council and say shit like this.
Yep. Well said.